This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and this is the 8th of July, 2024. And we have 10 stories from the past weekend you vetted as conversational, covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news stories. Today, we'll talk about some Hurricane Beryl. Still, we'll talk about Beryl for a bit. Also, John Cena and Kevin Bacon, plus more in the queue. The vetting process we'll explain to you at the end of the headlines and also bring you some fun things that you probably should know for the day. So check that out by sticking around for the full show. And for any information, any questions you have about what we have going on here, check out our website. This is theconversationproject.com for more information about the full offerings that we have for the Conversation Project. Also, email us as you deem worthy, needing, I guess, at the Conversation Inbox at gmail.com. Let us know how things are going for you as well. Now, as we said, 10 stories coming in here on Friday through Sunday, because that's 3 days. We give you more stories for the Monday morning edition. So that's how we got these stories today. No particular order as they're being presented, but we will give you some of a bit inside of how we got to where the stories are, where they are. So they mean much more to us. And we'll start that off with basically the first story out the queue. But that's how we'll get you the story. So explain more about this in the actual feeds part, in the actual, we get to what we call the teaser story to tell you how we do this thing in every single week. Now, let's get into the actual stories, headlines going forward. Starting off with headline number one. That story reads, or headline reads, Beryl makes landfall as hurricane near Mexico resort town of Tulum weakens to a tropical storm. Hurricane Beryl made landfall over Texas at a Category 1 hurricane this morning, though. The update from the story. The National Hurricane Service reported that Beryl brought significant impacts, including maximum sustained winds of about 70 miles an hour, life-threatening storm surge, heavy rainfall, and potential for tornadoes. These severe weather conditions are affecting various parts of Texas, with residents advised to stay alert and follow safety guidelines issued by local authorities. As we record this live, it was approximately about 6 o'clock Central Time. It actually hit landfall about, say, an hour ago or so, and it's going fairly quickly. We're hearing that Beryl is a storm that's not going to hover over Texas, not going to do what it did the last big storm to hover over Texas and just dump water over Houston. It's flooding that place severely. It's going to move pretty quickly. It's going to move all the way up to, by Friday, near, well, not exactly a hurricane, but near the Canadian border by Friday. So look for Beryl to be in the news for quite some time. Look for us to keep up with this going forward. Look for places like Louisiana, places like here in Arkansas, I'll see some, and going all the way to it turns. If you saw the teaser graphic, it has a nice little turn into it. While it heads more easternly, so it should just hit the eastern parts of the states, maybe New York City up towards there, and we will see how close it gets to Canada before it breaks itself up. A storm brewing in two senses in politics. Story number one we have, which is actually story number two, is this one. Biden says he's staying in the race as he scrambles to save candidacy and brace for ABC interview. This article was posted on Friday morning, actually, as the interview they recorded with George Stephanopoulos went down Friday evening, and we had the weekend to talk about it. Now, in his rally he had beforehand, he had a rally on Friday where he performed fairly well, performed fairly good, did the stuff. He had rallies over the weekend where he performed fairly well, performed fairly good. This interview that aired on Friday was not much better than his performance at the debate last Thursday. And that's saying a lot, considering that the stakes were so low for Thursday that he didn't meet them, and the stakes for Friday did not do much to basically change anyone's minds. Everybody's still backing him that's going to back him, although over the weekend, 4 more Democrats, I think the total is now 9 major Democrats, mostly in the Senate and the House, have publicly spoken to say out loud on the TV shows and in commentary that Biden should step down. Most of them are saying that they should step down so that Kamala Harris can go ahead and step in. Some are saying there's other folks on the tickets. Some are believing that some of these folks are actually vying for the other spot in the ticket, thinking that only they alone can actually beat Trump this time. The biggest issue is they're fighting against Trump, and with the unified front, breaking up the unity is becoming an issue. Storms are brewing in France as well, as the final second round of elections finished with the left leading the French election. Le Pen's far-right party leading third. It means Macron is in the middle. The left-leaning French Resolution Party did very well, although the first weekend of voting last week made it seem like Marine Le Pen's right-wing party was going to take over and basically win everything. Turned out to be the opposite. The French leading party won the most ballots and won the most seats, but not enough for a majority, so they can't run parliament on their own. The middle part came from the middle party, essentially from Macron, and the far right party coming in third. Now, the far right party are, of course, screaming to high heavens that the people aren't getting what they wanted, although they got what they voted for. The French party and the left is saying they're glad they saved from the far right menace, they'll call it. But understand that they have to coalition with what's left, essentially Macron's party, to rule things. The prime minister has already resigned, but President Macron has basically asked him to stick around for a little bit longer. Macron's not running for re-election. Basically, he's not going to, because it looks like the French guy, the left French guy, will make it to the actual president stuff. Parliament is kind of a weird sort of system. And if we lived under that, not saying we'd have less issues, but there's a whole lot more gridlock as we see right now when you have two parties that can't get along. When you have to actually have a coalition to do anything, it gets even worse. Let's move to a very sad story as we go too fast on the wrong mouse. Apologies for that. Moving on to the number 4 story, Vikings rookie Khyree Jackson, 24 years old, killed in auto accident. Minnesota Vikings rookie cornerback Khyree Jackson tragically was killed in a car accident in Maryland. The crash occurred shortly after 3 a.m., involving 3 cars and resulting in 3 fatalities, including Jackson's. Reports indicate that another vehicle was traveling at a high rate of speed when it collided with Jackson's car. The accident also claimed the lives of two other individuals. Jackson, 24, was a promising player who had recently joined the Vikings. Team and NFL community are mourning the untimely passing of Jackson. We are definitely saddened by this news happening for literally a guy just got drafted, whole life ahead of him, whole career ahead of him, and now out from something as random as a car accident. Here's a person with his life and his career behind him at this point. John Cena announced his retirement tour. Last match to take place at WWE WrestleMania 41. The 16-time world champion and one of WWE's most iconic figures has announced his retirement from professional wrestling. He revealed he was going to retire after the 2025 season, with WrestleMania 2041 being his final ring appearance. And also stated that in the press conference after the end of this announcement at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or PLE as they call it now, premium live event, stating that it's really over. The jorts are being retired, the t-shirts are being retired. He's wearing a suit and a tie. He's showing up behind the scenes to stick around. He's going to help, maybe motivate and do some mentoring to some younger talents. But as far as wrestling, being in the ring, taking any sort of weird bumps or anything like that, he is done. He wants to focus on his personal life and, of course, his career in movies and television. Right now, essentially, the timing worked out because he had a weekend off from filming Peacemaker 2, their second season Peacemaker, going on. So he had a good weekend to do this. The PLE signed right there, and he got a chance to shout out to the fans in Toronto for the big event. So John Cena, probably not going for that 17th title. He's currently tied with Ric Flair. A big deal with that one. We're working that one out. We'll see how this works out going forward. Right now, he'll be the first one to tell you earning that title slot will be a pretty big deal, because he can't remember last time he actually won a match on TV in singles competition. Let's move on to the story at number 6. Careers ahead of them includes Bronny James, who, as the headline says, looking like dad. Bronny James makes NBA Summer League debut. Now, he looked like dad in his form, but not so much in his actual stats. Started in the lineup for the Summer League game, finished the game with 4 points, 2 for 9 from the field, missing all 3 of his 3-point shots. But despite the amount of statistics, he showed flashes of potential that drew attention, essentially highlighting how he and his dad seemingly have similar looks, a similar game going forward. Now, LeBron was a monster coming out of high school, and Bronny not so much. And, of course, his last year at USC, not exactly something to set the world on fire. But they picked him with the 55 pick, that being the Lakers. He's going to play with his dad this season. LeBron took a pay cut, not as big as they thought, but hopefully that will make some space for some other folks to join in the team and make them a good enough team to get the championship sooner rather than later going forward. Now, another person with career ahead of them is Caitlin Clark, who we've talked about a whole lot this season, whole lot this WNBA season, a whole lot so far since she's been drafted, and for the last 2 years that she's been playing college basketball. She made her history this weekend as the first rookie to hit a triple-double. Seriously, And she got it with a win. The Fever got a win over New York Liberty, 83-78. And in the process, she scored 19 points, 13 assists, and 12 rebounds. This is big for the number one pick overall to show that she's got the chops to do this right now going. And this is the ninth win for the Fever so far this season. Now, what we're seeing back and forth is actual Angel Reese in high contention to actually top Caitlin Clark with her performances. While Caitlin Clark is great and Reese is great as well, you see them in their back-to-backs. Right now, Reese just broke the record for consecutive double-doubles, which has been held for a couple of years by more senior players. So she's got more consistency on this, that being Reese. But Caitlin Clark, of course, all eyes are on her. It is what it is. Let's move to headline number 8 this morning. We have 10 headlines, as we say, for Friday, so an extra 2 coming up, and we'll explain how that works out in the feed part, in the part for the teaser story in a few moments. But the number 8 story for this morning, coming from the weekend, Despicable Me 4 topped July 4th box office with $20.4 million. Inside Out 2 crosses $500 million domestically. So, big weekend for Despicable Me 4. It dominated the Independence Day weekend box office, earning $122 million overall over the 5-day period. On July 4th, of course, $20.4 million on its own. The massive domestic gross box for the weekend, $503.6 million overall. Pretty big deal for all the movies for 4th of July weekends. Not much to do for the 4th of July, and it's not as dead as Christmas or New Year's, where everything is really shut down. But when people are trying to beat the heat, escape all the hotness, a lot of coolness happened. A lot of kids and adults checking out this Despicable Me 4. And what it shows is that a movie like this one, which has an odd following for young men as well, wearing tuxedos going to these movies, are going to this to stick around for the storyline, stick around for the love and the cuteness, and for the ongoing story of Gru, the villain who is now kind of good, but definitely a good family man. The number 9 story for this morning. This one has us all kind of wrinkling our brows in this one, and a bit of fury for us all to share as Vanessa Hudgens calls out paparazzi over invasive pics of her leaving the hospital after giving birth. Hudgens has publicly condemned the paparazzi for leaking photos of her newborn baby. Hudgens, who recently gave birth to her first child with LA Angels outfielder Cole Tucker, expressed her disappointment and frustration over the invasion of family privacy. She criticized the paparazzi for exploiting the private moment and called for respect and consideration for her family's personal space. The incident has sparked a conversation about the ethics of paparazzi behavior and the need for stricter privacy protections for public figures. Probably something that's a really big conversation that needs to be had now. And finally, a number 10 story for this morning, 10 stories picked for the weekend. It's a big one. It's a big one. It's a fight that you probably have with your friends, your loved ones, and maybe the folks at the window when you see it coming up there, or at various places, as the trendy name of boneless wings is coming to fruition, as Popeyes actually considered calling their wings bites instead to avoid confusion. Popeyes recently introduced boneless wings to its menu, like everyone else is doing, which are actually made from breaded breast meat. So they're not wings from anywhere. They are essentially more nuggets, except they're not exactly they're not really the sort of amalgam of the bad parts that's just kind of mixed together. It's really cut from big chunks of breast meat and made to be kind of tasty and really good. They're just not actual wings. To avoid confusion among customers who might expect traditional wing meat, Popeyes considered naming them bites, but went with boneless wings because they're trendy. The confusion, because people think they're actually getting wing meat and not breast meat, is something that is an issue. But everyone should know that boneless wings don't exist because wings have bones. That's kind of how it works. You can't really have a wing. I guess you can have noodle bones in your wings, which means you won't be able to fly, and that would really suck. And all that stuff. Let's move on. It is time to talk about our teaser story for the morning. The teaser story is a story we put out there for you to engage in. We tease it, if you will, and we get a chance to explain how the feeds work for the Conversation Project, how you get a chance to be engaged in the stories and put the words in my mouth every single weekday morning for this thing here. The teaser story for this morning is not boneless wings. It is this one here. Headline reads, Sister of North Korean leader Kim calls South Korea's live fire drills, suicidal hysteria. One of the biggest mysteries about the mystery of North Korea is who's in charge if Kim's not in charge. And right now, we believe the upcoming second in command, the upcoming person who will take over all things, is and will be the first female leader of the nation. That is Kim Jong Un's sister. She is speaking out about the current live fire drills going on in South Korea, basically saying what you folks doing down there, basically calling for us to wipe you out, because it's all about North Korea wiping out South Korea. First, it's just with bombs that don't go off in the right places. Then it's with garbage that's floated over in balloons. And now maybe something more sinister. Do you believe the words, the fire being spit from Kim's sister, or is this more bluster from North Korea? You get a chance to engage in the story and tell us what to do, literally what to talk about, by going to our feeds. These are our links on Facebook and X. Facebook.com/This is a Conversation Project, and X.com or Twitter.com if you must. th_conversation. Every 50 minutes or so, we give you a news story, an article linked from various different sources. Some of them you may love, some of you may not like so much, some of them you may question just as much as we do, but we like the headlines, we like the possible stories, and the possibility of you guys getting into those stories. The biggest story for the weekend was this story we posted about Hurricane Beryl from Friday, and so many things happened that we can engage in that one. Of course, other great ones as well, and we'll engage in those and tell you how those worked out towards the end of the week as well. But you get a chance to tell us every single day how the stories line up, and towards the end of the week when we put them all together for the weekly wrap-up. You let us know if Kim Jong-un's sister is a big deal to talk about tomorrow, more detail for the story, or what other stories we'll have. Today, as we said, 10 stories in the headlines. We picked 10 stories from the top 30 of the weekend, over 90 for the full weekend. We'll get over 30 today for Monday. We'll pick 8 stories, I should say, from top 15 stories of the day for today. So that's how we'll know about tomorrow. You get to work to picking tomorrow's stories. So let's get to work. Stories are already there 24/7. We do it. Let's see if this story or other stories will make the major cut. Our spotlight sponsor for the day is Hostage Tape. And Hostage Tape is a funny sort of product with a serious mind that's set to help you out. One of the biggest things that people have or issues with is breathing, and breathing in various senses. Breathing at night, we know sleep apnea, people who just snore going on. Breathing during the day, heavy breathers who mouth breathers who have issues with that. And if you're exercising for that prominentness, you're looking for peakness for your exercising, breathing through your nose. Breathing through your nose is a good thing. And one way to help you breathe through your nose, which is a simple and very effective way, is by using Hostage Tape, mouth tape. It's tape you put over your mouth so that you can't open your mouth while you're doing whatever, so you must breathe through your nose. It's that simple. It is 5-star rated by many places, and every time they put out a big promotion, they sell out. So Hostage Tape, it was a silly thing when we started promoting this a couple of years ago, but people are learning about it, people are getting into it, people are using it. And if the tape is a little too much or they're sold out, they've got you covered. Nose strips. They're nose strips that are meant like to open your nose up, open your passage, nasal passage, so you breathe better through your nose. That's Hostage Tape for your mouth to keep you from talking, open your mouth, and keep your nose open, which isn't so much hostage, but it helps you out in your breathing. We want you to check out our link, our affiliate link, so that you can get this great deal, and we get a small commission from your coming into the store. Our link is this. It's theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. Check it out. You'll love it. You'll love it. Your spouse will love it because they'll stop on snoring. Your crew for your workouts will love it because you'll get better and more efficient. And you may love it too. In fact, you're probably going to love it because you're doing buying it for yourself. Check it out. It's called Hostage Tape. And as silly as the name it is, it's an awesome, awesome article, awesome thing to have along the way. Let's promote us. Let's talk about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about us. And that us is the Conversation Project. And we are really an us. It really is a team effort, a group effort. We want you to stick around for all the great things we do. In just a moment, we're going to get to the things you might ought to know for today. So you want to know some of the fun things, fun facts for today. But let's first talk about how we get things done for the Conversation Project. This is the second full week. We actually did a full week last week, because we had a little extra time with the July 4th holiday to kind of maneuver some things and make things work. and build them into the week. And this is the second full week we've had since we dropped off about a month ago, 5-6 weeks ago, to move back into the house we almost lost. It was severely damaged in a tornado. And after thinking we were on a speed path to getting in there and then hitting some snags, we were back after 15, 16, give the week or so, months of being gone. So with that being said, we're back to normal, if you will, but back to the normality of basically coming into a new space. So there's still a lot of things happening that are being done with the house and the space and the studio. So that stuff's being done there. There's still being done with the, be honest, the day job that's a bit stressful that needs done there. And there's other things happening going forward. But you'll start, if you're new here, you won't know the difference from what we had. If you're not new here, if you've been here for a while, you've had a chance to see what we've been working on, what we've been planning, what we've been tinkering with, and how we implement it going forward. What we're asking for now is some support, some help. We're looking for you to engage with us. The biggest thing you can do, the most important thing you do, is stop by our feeds as often as you can when you're checking out your Facebook and your X and engaging in our stories. Liking, loving, hating, sharing. The more you engage in the stories, the better chance we have of talking about them the next day. If you deem us worthy of an email to tell us what we can do better or not so worse, email us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Stop by our website. There are many calls to actions there to do. There's lots there. But we want to stop at the website, find out how you can follow us in various other places, find out how you can be a part of the newsletter, get this thing in your inbox every single morning without my face. That sometimes is good. And consider more sponsors. They're listed there. And being a partner, a direct partnership with us for the Conversation Project. What you get is more insights to how we do things, more, let's say, superdelegate type of votes on how we do things as well. And you're the first people I'll come to as my board of directors. All that can be done by going to the website. This is theconversationproject.com. Check it out. And of course, the feeds are online at Facebook and X, so follow them and let us know what we're talking about every single weekday morning, because that's pretty important on getting the things done getting the things done every single weekday morning. It's all about getting you the news, the headlines that you can enjoy, that you will love, and showing that there's some articles. Beryl is a big deal. Biden's a big deal. The French election, a big deal. But sometimes some smaller things out there that are needed to be known. Speaking of things that are needing to be known, these are things that you ought to know. For today being Monday, July 8th, 2024, this is where we give you some things that are fun facts and fact facts and some funner stuff as well. And we always like to show appreciation for some of the more lighter things, as you will. And it stretches the time for the video, so I get more watch time. So if you stick around this long, thank you. You've got the business part done, so you got all of the news part. We did the promotion stuff. Now let's have some fun. And let's have some fun starting off with that guy, Kevin Bacon. The man famous for, that had been 40 years ago, the Kevin Bacon game, showing that how many people in Hollywood were attached to Kevin Bacon. Still a big number. Is 56 years old, 66 years old on the day, and stated in a news article from late past week and in the weekend, being normal sucks. He actually spent some time as a normal person. He got a makeup artist to make him look like a normal person, to look like he wasn't Kevin Bacon, and had to stand in line and deal with people pushing and shoving and not knowing where he's on. They were rude. They were people, and he wanted to go back to being famous pretty much minutes after he did the experiment. And people thought he was kind of a jerk for that. But he's still Kevin Bacon. He is still 66. He's earned that right on the day. Maya Hawke, daughter of Ethan Hawke, is 26 years old, and 80 years old today. We're giving the candles, we're giving the flowers to Jeffrey Tambor, the comedian, the actor, the very funny guy. Let's move on to some history for the day. It is July the 8th, and things that happened on this day, back when. In 1680, the first confirmed tornado in America killed one person in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm not sure who logged it and how we know it's there, but the very first tornado that was confirmed, I'm sure they were around for the first 1,679 years of the place being there, was logged in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Tornadoes are everywhere. In 1881, the first ice cream sundae was served for the first time by druggist Edward Berner of Two Rivers, Wisconsin. Why did I say Michigan? The very first ice cream sundae. I'm not sure how they logged it. It was the first ice cream sundae, but hey, we give it to Edward Berner. It's yours. And on this day in 2015, NFL's Washington Redskins had their trademark vacated on the grounds it may cause offense to Native Americans. That is the Redskin. And for years, for a while, they went by the Washington football team, which many people thought was actually a cooler name. They are now known as Commanders. However, we had articles a few weeks ago about people wanting to give honor to the Redskins, the Redskin name. Weirdly enough, many people who are Native American want to give some honor to it, but most of the people who do are not Native American and just aren't doing it for sensitivity reasons, just doing it because they're white people and they think they can do what they want to. Yeah, I guess I said that. Okay. Learn something today with the word of the day. Today's word of the day is projectile. Projectile is an object fired from a gun or with an explosive propelling charge, such as a bullet, shell, rocket, or grenade, or just something thrown out at something, projected as a projectile. Used in a sentence, the soldier carefully aimed his rifle before releasing the projectile, which sped through the air towards its target. Projectile. Your word for the day. Learn more about big words by going to the Big Words Project and seeing how you can get them in big words. We're a little delayed in the volume 2 of the Big Words Projects. Big Words You Ought to Know. It should have been out last week. Should have been out 2 weeks ago, honestly. But Operation Chaos got in the way, and we'll get that book out hopefully by the end of this week. It's basically in the last bits of editing. It's pretty simple. It's a book of vocabulary words. We just got to edit everything and put it in form. Hopefully have this book out this week so we can get onto it and move on to it and announce the recipient of the last quarter's receipt for the donations. Donations, $2 or $1 from each book. Each of these books goes directed to some sort of reading program in Arkansas. We'll tell you who got the money for last quarter in a few days. Our affirmation for the day: learn something new and get something positive out of your day. Today's affirmation reads, repeat to yourself these words: my potential to succeed is limitless. And this affirmation enhances self-belief. Affirming that your potential to succeed is limitless enforces a strong sense of self-belief, combating negative thoughts and self-doubt, and leading to improved self-confidence. Repeating something like this to yourself will make you feel that it is possible. Your success is limited. Your potential is there, and it can be as high as you want to take it. So use this as a daily affirmation. More information on affirmations can be found by checking out my book, 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Confidence, which is out on Amazon right now. All the proceeds go to me in this one. No one going to any charity, unfortunately. But you can check it out for more words and how daily affirmation. We're going to come out with some sort of website that sort of pushes affirmations fairly soon. We got too many projects going on, to be honest. It is what it is. I'm just I did a lot of writing to keep myself sane over Operation Chaos Day, so it is what it is. Finally, celebrate, dance to the music on Freezer Pop Day. One simple way that parents love to provide their kids with refreshing sweet treats during the hot summer days is with Freezer Pops. These affordable and quick frozen snacks can be purchased at most grocery stores, found in dry goods aisles, and then thrown in the freezer upon arriving home. It takes just a few hours, about 6 mainly, to see these little liquefied plastic tubes in all sorts of flavors and colors and turn a tasty frozen pop into an ideal hot day treat. Now, there are various different names. Freezer Pop is essentially how you call it if you want to be generic about it. Otter Pops and Flavor Ice are various names of name brands, but they're little plastic tubes of colored water, sugared water, that you freeze and then you pull them out and you suck on them, and they are great for your day, whether you're a kid or an adult. Alternate days for your celebration day include Ice Cream Sundae Day. Today is the birthday to Ice Cream Sundae, so if you're not down for Freezer Pops, spend some extra money for Ice Cream Sundae. Also, Coca-Cola Day. Today is the day that Coca-Cola was invented as well, so there's that. Plus, Milk Chocolate with Almond Day. If you need something else tasty, milk chocolate with almonds, very, very tasty. A lot of tasty things for you to celebrate today, so there's no excuse for you not to add some calories. Except for if you go for the Freezer Pops, because that's basically water and just a little bit of sugar. That'll be your low-cal treat. Everything else might be an issue. Diet Coke, maybe. And that's it. We've rambled through today's edition of Things You Might Have Heard and Things You Might Ought to Know for Monday, July the 8th, 2024. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm thanking you so much for being with us for the show. We have had, this is the second week, the first day of the second week of doing the full thing again. And we've got basically all the pieces we want to put in place, put them together, and we have them going forward. So now's the time to let us know how well we're doing, how well we're not doing going forward. Email us, the conversation inbox at gmail.com, to let me know how well we're doing. Respond to the videos, like, love, share anything we're doing so we know we're doing great, and just be along for the ride. We've gone very long, so we're going to get out of here pretty quickly. Want to make sure you stay hydrated, stay limber, stay on task for all the grand things you're doing, and love you, mean it. Consider being a partner. Check out the website to find out where you can follow us, and make sure you're following the feed so we know what stories to talk about. We're going to get out of here right now. Let's say we're going long. We want you to be here tomorrow, 5:50 start time for the morning when we get to the live feeds, and then all day long on the feeds with new stories for you to engage in, to give us the stories to talk about in the morning.